I will be the first one to admit if I've made a mistake. And I made a very big mistake with criticisms I was having for episode 9 of the Ossan Newbie Adventurer before I saw the full package. I have loved this show, but I truly thought the only option was for Angelica to beat Geith, because not only would it show her hard work and determination of defeating the bully and the evil bastard that was going to force her to be locked down into a marriage against her will, but it would also just turn her into a damsel in distress if she lost here and Rick had to save the day. So when I saw her lose, and Rick very clearly was in his angry form, I was disappointed. I was hoping, I was crossing my fingers, that they would pull a miracle, but I didn't believe they could. But I was wrong, because this was actually the appropriate outcome, because I don't think I've ever seen this done in anime, and I've been watching anime for over a decade religiously, like weekly anime. But the idea of not only, even before the reveal that he was using basically Angelica's strength, so basically limiting his own power to where she was currently at a month's training, and then escalating it to 6 months, 9 months to where she'd be a year from now. Even before that reveal, seeing how he dumped his own power down to her level, not because she's pathetic, but simply like, we know Rick's stronger than Angelica as it stands. Rick just be built different. But the idea of showing that throughout the first bit of that fight, the damage he was doing to this bastard was her own strength, immediately made me go from, oh shit, Angelica's just gonna feel like the damsel in distress who got saved, to actually, really the only thing that held her back was a lack of experience, because as we see, a month of her training still is quite effective, but it's true. Someone born with natural talent who never really had to train a day in his life, you're not going to be able to beat that probably in a month. But as we see, a year from now, if she continued to train as hard as she did in the past month, if she did that for another 11 months to 12 months, she would be able to beat someone like Geith, no questions asked. They nearly ruined this episode for me by making Angelica lose and make it seem like Rick was going to be the knight in shining armor that saves the damsel in distress. And what did they do instead? They turned it into arguably one of the best episodes of this whole anime season that did something I don't think I've ever seen before. This was legitimately a 10 out of 10 episode, and it is a crime that more people are sleeping on this, because this show deserves so much viewership. I have those full live reactions though over on Patreon if you want to see my full and good thought to any of these Ossan Newbie Adventure episodes. It's going to be over there exclusively. So, did not see that coming at all. The biggest surprise for me was actually like the fact that she lost. I was totally convinced the outcome of the tournament was going to be Angelica wins against Geith. Rick obviously fights his opponent. Rick versus Angelica. Rick will win. Rick goes up against his mentor. Mentor probably wins, and then mentor beats champion. That's how I thought it was going to go down. And then as soon as I saw her defeated, I thought to myself, well, now where the hell do we go? And I did like seeing Rick pissed off. I like seeing Rick, wanting to stand up for a friend, but I just truly didn't think it was possible to make Angelica come out of that situation not feeling like she was pathetic or this or that. But it's true, right? Like, she did only train for a month, a hellish month, and already is doing things that are pretty impressive that most people probably couldn't do, even with that training, because most people wouldn't survive the training. But the idea that Rick comes in there, because if Rick just used his full strength, I truly think this, if he would have used his full strength of what he's capable of right away, he probably could have one-shotted Geith. I think so, and if not, a few punches. But the idea that he's like, listen, I'm going to give you basically a rematch between Angelica. This is how she is at month 1, which is what he currently fought. And then the idea of 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year from now, just seeing like at one point, he coats his entire body in this like metallic armor. It looks cool as hell, punches it, and it just shatters. Like, this show knows how to do action. I mean, for probably the first 3 to 4 episodes of this show, I would have said, yeah, it's definitely not one of the best produced shows of the season. It's perfectly average, sometimes even below average. It very much functions like an old school anime would, and as I've said throughout videos, it gives me a very similar impression of the anime Helk, which aired last year, I believe is when it aired. It had a very old school presentation as well. But really, since we've met up with Angelica in this new area, I feel like the production has actually been remarkably solid. Not saying Sakuga Fest, not saying the craziest shit of the season, oh my god, look at that Demon Slayer animation. but legitimately great production, especially in this episode. Because you feel the impact. Something I've had issues with over the past couple of seasons is there's been some shows, hell, even in this current anime season, I didn't talk about it this week, but anyone who watched the latest episode of Why Does Nobody Remember Me in the World, they were like fighting like a boss, and pretty much they punch and then they just kind of move. Like there's no impact to the action there. Where a show like this, you feel the impacts, you feel the punches, you feel the momentum, and you actually feel like characters are busted. And one of the other shocking moments, which I've trusted that Snape probably wasn't a scumbag, but I love the idea that we get the confirmation that Snape isn't even rigging anything. He's simply betting on his brother, because his brother is naturally built different. And I don't know if this was revealed before and I just completely missed it, but apparently they're not even like, they're adopted. I'm like, oh, okay, I thought this was his biological brother, but yeah, the fact that he beat his ass once, he's like, yep, I'm dropping out of fighting because this guy is apparently him, is kind of insane. I don't know how much he bet, but I think he lost a lot of money by betting on Geeth because Rick just showed him up. I'm pretty sure Rick cost a lot of people a lot of money because no one would suspect Rick Gladiator is gonna end up defeating, you know, Snape's big bad dragon brother, but, you know, he did exactly that. Just an absolutely bonkers episode. And I'm sure there's going to be some people who try to say, oh, Brandon, you're overreacting, even if he didn't use her strength and won and, you know, save the day. No, like, that just becomes a damsel in distress moment. And if you like damsel in distress moments, that's okay. We all have our opinions. I just think they're ass usually. Like, sometimes I can forgive them. It's just, given, like, had we not had build-up with Angelica trying to save her own life, then sure, you know, him saving her and freeing her would have been fine. But it really felt like with the training she went through, she deserved to beat this guy. And then when he beats her ass, I'm thinking to myself, man, like I get like it could just be a difference in skill level as of now. But how do you make her come out of this not give up? And then Rick pulls out the most brilliant thing I've seen an anime character do this season, I think. The fact that he actually limits his power to match her own. Not because it's like, oh, look at how pathetic you are. But no, look at how strong you are and how much more potential you have. We don't just start. The people who are naturally talented, as soon as they go up against someone who actually has talent and had to work for it, they crumble because they don't know what it's like to be exhausted, what it's like to feel pain. Angelica has massive potential, just don't give up. That's how you do a situation that easily, 99.999% of the times, would have turned her into a damsel in distress and instead turned her into a queen boss bitch. Fantastic. Thoughts down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we have those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we have John Kelly, Christian D. Ruffy, Alex, Charlotte, and we also have Lee Sing Mang. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.